Hey, what's up guys, WiseGuyVito here, and today I have an tier list video for you guys, and this one will be on primary weapons against the Terminid faction. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and also I have a member button now, so if you're interested in being a member, if you guys are interested in giving more extra support, that'd be greatly appreciated. Before we start the tier list, let's go over the tiers real quick. So S tier would be kind of like meta choices for the Terminid faction at level 10 difficulty. A tier would be above average. You know, may have one glaring issue with it, but for the most part, this is still a solid weapon to use on the Terminid faction at level 10 difficulties. B tier is average. It's neither good nor bad. It's kind of just mid for the most part. C tier is below average. Might need a buff in order to make it good and actually usable. And then D tier is the Dookie tier. This is the bad tier. This is we need some heavy reworks. Or some major buffs to this weapon in order to make it even remotely competitive within the A and S tier rankings. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the tier list. So, the Adjudicator, I do think this is like a high A tier weapon for me. I do believe this is probably the best AR in the entire game right now. And AR as in like it shoots bullets, not plasma or anything like that. Because technically like the Scorcher is an AR now, right? Or it kind of acts like an AR. But the Adjudicator, I do believe, is probably the best AR in the entire game currently. I like the Adjudicator more. I'm more prone to the Adjudicator more because it feels meaty. It feels impactful. It has pretty good damage. It's got 95 damage. It's got good durable damage as well. And it's medium armor penetration. I believe I mentioned that. So this gun has really good ease of use. The only competition that it has is a Liberator Penetrator, and then we'll go over that gun here shortly. But as far as the Adjudicator goes, it's a phenomenal weapon. You should definitely use it on level 10 difficulties. Where I do think kind of like stumbles a little bit, the weapon attachments makes this gun into a laser beam, which is great, but it needs more ammo in its magazine. So hopefully at some point they'll put like an extended mag on it. If they do put an extended mag on it, I will be greatly appreciative because that will make the gun probably into an S tier gun at that point. But overall, I do love this gun a lot, and I do think you guys should definitely try it on level 10 difficulties. Blitzer, not gonna lie, this thing is S tier. Even though they changed like the stun value of it to where like it'll stun things slower, doesn't matter. This thing still stuns. This thing staggers, and it has unlimited ammo to it. It's got a good fire rate to it as well. It's just kind of like the best like. As far as like raw damage go for shotguns, right, or just like a good, just overall, just shotgun in general, this is pretty good. It arcs to different targets as well with its arc bolts. Just overall, just a fantastic primary. So that's why I'm putting it into the S tier category. Breaker, not gonna lie, Breaker's kind of like mid in my opinion. Even with all of the changes to its attachments, I still feel like it's kind of mid. I do think it kind of needs something else. Also, it is light armor penetrating. Light armor penetration against bugs isn't like too terrible, but I just would rather have something else. To be perfectly honest with you, the Breaker and Incendiary, I'd rather have that. That's light armor penetrating. But the nice thing about the Incendiary Breaker is that it sets things on fire, right? And fire damage right now is crazy insane right now. So I kind of do think that the Incendiary Breaker kind of like overshadows the Breaker in general. Not to say that the Breaker is bad. The Breaker is really good at single target damage. So if you need something with single target capabilities to it to handle like Brute Commanders and Bile Spewers and Nursing Spewers and stuff like that, that's cool. But I'd rather just use something that just sets them on fire because fire damage is just so high right now. But, you know, if you want to use this for fun, that's cool. It's kind of mid in my opinion. I don't think that's necessarily obsolete, but I do think that the Breaker Incendiary is better. And that's with the Breaker being fully kitted out. That means if you put an extended mag on it, like a drum mag on it, you know, having either like a foregrip on it or like an angle grip if you like to move a lot with the angle grip. Just overall, it just kind of feels mid to me right now. So we'll see what happens in the future with it. But right now, it's going to have to be in the B tier category for me. Constitution, it's probably not. It's really not too great against bugs. If they added a triple clip to it, it probably would be like a C tier weapon at that point. But if you're wanting to chat out, cool. You know, it definitely has aura to it, which is great. But other than that, though, I wish that they would have added stripper clips to this weapon, because I do think they would greatly benefit from stripper clips. But for the most part, it's a medium armor penetrating weapon. I believe it does like 200 damage, I believe. So it does pretty good damage as well. Has a bayonet on it, but with a slow fire rate, you have to reload often. And with there not being any stripper clips, you have to reload each bullet one at a time. You just get easily swarmed very, very easily. So that's why I don't think it's that great of a weapon against the Terminid. So that's why I'm putting it into the D tier. But if you want to chat out with it, be an absolute monster with it, go ahead and do it. You have the full fledged of democracy behind you whenever you use this weapon. So the Counter Sniper Diligence, I do think this is probably like one of the better ARs in the entire game right now, but I do think that it is on the A tier scaling, just simply because like you just get swarmed like very, very easily. This thing can handle like high value targets from far away, but the moment that you go up against anything that's like hunter wise or predator strands and stuff like that, I think this weapon kind of falls off just a little bit. Not to say it's not a bad weapon. I think this weapon is actually probably, like I said, like one of the better DMRs in the entire game. I just do think that it's not necessarily more of a Terminid weapon. I do think that's more of a bot and an Illuminate weapon overall, just because you're going to be handling more of those like medium armor penetrating enemies more often than none. Not to say this is a bad weapon. It's just, I think that's probably it definitely swamps automatons. But on the Terminid front, it does fairly well. If you want to go into a more sniper route and handle those high value targets, as I said before, like kind of like those brew commanders, bile spewers, nursing spewers, and stuff like that, you can definitely do that. And this gun does do pretty well. But for the most part, if you do get swarmed, that's where kind of like it doesn't feel too good. The Cookout's probably like one of the best primaries in the entire game right now, just because it staggers, which is really good, and it catches things on fire, and it has a great ammo economy as well. You don't have to worry about clips. You just load in one shell at a time, so it has like a slower reload speed, but that's fine because your Helldiver kind of reloads faster already. Plus, if you need the reload speed, you could just take Siege ready. But overall, I do think that this is probably like one of the best crowd control slash just killing weapons in the entire game. It just does very, very well because fire damage got buffed. And whenever things are set on fire, they just take way more damage now, and that scales up with how bigger the enemy is now. This gun is just an absolute beast. That's why it's in the S tier scaling. The Defender's kind of mid. I wish that light armor penetrating weapons, especially, and like you're going to see a trend here, I wish that they had like more of attachments, maybe more underbarrel attachments, maybe more different ammo types to kind of make them like a little bit more different and unique. But right now, how it stands is that light armor penetrating weapons just don't feel good right now. I also think that light armor penetrating weapons need more durable damage to it, meaning that you need, like, I wish light armor penetrating weapons did more damage to body parts. If they did, I think they'd be in a fairly good spot overall, because with light armor penetrating weapons, you have to aim for weak points. You have to aim for body parts. If you're hitting something that is medium armor, it's just going to bounce off. It's not going to do that, like do any damage to the enemy, right? So that's why you have to hit like weaker spots, fleshy spots, light armor spots, in order to do any type of damage whatsoever. That's why I do think that light armor penetrating weapons do need a buff. But with all the attachments connected to the Defender, it does definitely help it out to like a high B tier rating for the most part. But I do think with some of the other options, especially within medium armor penetrating weapons, I just think that medium armor penetrating weapons swamp most of the light armor penetrating weapons altogether. There's some that are kind of like the exception. We'll kind of go over those, but for the most part, like the Defender kind of falls within the category of, it's a light armor penetrating weapon. It has weapon attachments. That does help it out. Don't get me wrong, it does help it out, but I don't think it helps out enough to get it out necessarily of like kind of like the average tier. So that's why I'm putting it into the B tier category. Diligence kind of falls within the same category here. Light armor penetrating, fine, whatever. I do think that it probably does better with swarms. I just wish that the damage of it was just a little bit better than what it is currently. Or maybe just like the durable damage in full. If the durable damage was better, it probably would be like a high A tier type of pick. But overall, though, I do feel like this is more of like an automaton weapon and an Illuminate weapon, especially Illuminate on the side of Illuminate things, because Illuminate or like Overseers did get a nerf to where whenever you break off their chest plate, you can actually now take them down like way easier, which is really good. But overall, though, I do think that this is kind of just like a mid pick for the most part. Even with all the attachments and everything else, I just do think that medium armor penetrating weapons just need light armor penetrating weapons need more durable damage, and that's why I'm going to put it into the B tier ranking. The Dominator, I do think the Dominator's kind of fallen off a bit, but I still do think it's pretty good still against high value targets. If you're wanting to handle high value targets or even like Predator Strand levels of enemies, this thing stuns. Staggers pretty well, does pretty good damage as well. It's just a meaty gun. It has very bad handling and a very slow reload speed, but you can kind of mitigate that with either the Commando set or the Siege Ready set to kind of, like you can do one or the other as far as, do I want to have more reload speed or do I want to have better handling? Personally, I go with the better handling. Overall, though, I do think this gun has kind of fallen off from its S tier kind of status that it's always been having to more of like a just a nice A tier spot that it has right now. So that's why I'm putting it into the A tier ranking. The double-edged sickle. If you are wearing full fire armor, I do think this is an S tier gun, but you have to be wearing fire armor, right? If you are not wearing fire armor and wearing anything else, I do think it falls probably like in a low B tier position because I don't think the trade-offs are actually worth it if you are not running like a vitality booster and the armor set and the fire resistant armor set. If you have the vitality booster and the fire resistant set, I do think this gun is an automatic S tier. But by itself, though, with any other armor set in the game with no vitality booster, I do think it's probably within like a B tier ranking. I will give this gun what it's due on if you build craft into it. If you build craft into it, it's a monster of a gun, right? But anything else right now, it's not really that great. Whenever they made their change to this gun, and everyone was saying, even certain content creators were saying that this was a buff to the weapon. It was not a buff to the weapon. It was a nerf to the weapon because you had to do one specific build to even use it in the first place. And that's why I do think that the overall, quote unquote, what Airhead was saying was a buff was not actually a buff. Okay, because I hate to break it to you, I really don't think that Airhead really tests a lot of their guns or test a lot of their war bonds at times. They say they do. I don't really think they do, right? Because we've been seeing it here consistently where things have been gone out. They've been tested time and time again, supposedly been tested time and time again, and then when they release it and things are broken within the war bond. I'll give you a fun example of the most recent war bond, the Epoch. Like how the Epoch is just crazy inaccurate right now. And supposedly they tested everything. Oh, sorry guys, we have to fix it. Also, we're on a 2-week vacation, so you have to wait 2 weeks now. Yeah, get burned on that one. But overall, though, I do think this gun is probably in a good spot if you wear fire armor and vitality booster. But anything else, though, it is probably a B tier gun. So that's why I'm putting it into the S tier ranking if you build into it. The Erupter, it's A tier. It's okay on some crowd control situations if enemies are kind of bunched together, but mainly this is going to be a high value target killer for the most part, killing bile spewers, nursing spewers, brew commanders and such. Other than that, though, it's just like an A tier weapon for the most part. It has slow reload to it. Its in between shots are kind of slow as well. It did get a boost in its handling, which is very nice. It actually had a negative handling value at one point, which was very, very sad. But now it actually has like a better handling stat, so you can actually be able to kind of run around with it more. It's just an overall just a fantastic weapon. This also opens up to where you can actually bring maybe a stalwart, like a machine gun as well as like a support weapon. It's just an overall just a fantastic weapon. But like I said before, if we're just going off of the weapon itself at times, by itself, it's just good at just handling high value targets and somewhat good at crowd control. Because of that, I do think it's probably going to be like an A tier ranking for me. The Torture. I do think the Torture is really good right now, just simply because of fire damage buff. That's it. Fire damage buff right now makes fire weapons just just really, really good right now, especially on the Terminid front, whenever you have to spray into mobs of enemies or light the fire in front of you and let the enemies walk on it so that they catch on fire and they die really, really quickly. Because of that, putting it into the S tier ranking. Explosive crossbow, probably like one of the more user-friendly, probably, weapons in the entire game. Medium armor penetration because of the explosion damage. It can handle groups of enemies and can handle high-value targets. It's one-handed as well, so it's like I said, like it's just an amazing gun or weapon, really. Has good ammo economy as well. Reload speed is not terrible. It is like a little bit slower, but for the most part, like it's not too bad. I do think that the explosive crossbow is still probably like the better Erupter. This can blow up bug holes. I understand that the Erupter can blow up bug holes as well, but the crossbow is just versatile, and that's why I like it a lot. It's just it does a lot of things very, very well, and so that's why I'm putting it into the S tier ranking. The Halt, sorry, I do think the Halt is very, very good right now, just simply because it can stun, and it can stun very, very well. If you want to crowd control, use this weapon. It does very, very well. It also does medium armor penetration as well. It just has a particular playstyle to it that a lot of people aren't really accustomed to, which is switching back and forth between ammo types. A lot of people don't like doing that. I also kind of agree that people, or with some folks, that do believe that they wish that there was like a hotkey for switching weapons rather than just holding R and then, or for me, it's holding the reload button and then switching it out like that. They wish there was like a hotkey for just switching just fire modes. I think that would actually kind of help this weapon out, and I think a lot of people would actually probably use it more often. But I do think this weapon is probably like on the low end of S tier. I don't think that it's the best shotgun against the Terminids. Like I said, like I think the Cookout and the Blitzer are probably better, but this gun does handle. Oh, like this gun stuns enemies for about a good like 4 or 5 seconds, and that feels pretty good. So that's why I'm putting it into the S tier ranking. The Incendiary Breaker is probably going to be S tier for me as well. Like I said, just spray and pray into just like a mountain of enemies and just rack up the kills, because again, fire damage is really good. This is really good because with the Cookout, it's like shoot, shuck, shoot, shuck, shoot, shuck, shoot, shuck. With the Incendiary Breaker, you could just spray into a whole mob, and then you get like 30 or so kills in a bug breach or something, right? Like this gun just does a lot of damage. Do kind of wish that they would up the ammo just a little bit. Just give it like one more extra mag. Like even though it's a drum mag, let's give it one more extra mag, and I think that it'd be like in a fantastic spot. But overall, I do think that this is definitely a very good shotgun to use on the Terminid front. Deadeye, this is probably like my favorite gun in the entire game right now, but I do think this is probably going to be in the A tier ranking for me. This is really good for high value targeting, not really good for handling mobs of enemies at times. You'll definitely want to use this for, at times it will pierce through enemies, and it has like moments where it can kill like 2 enemies at a time because the bullet pierces through the enemy. There are also times as well where this gun just shines and does do good crowd control, but the problem with this weapon is that it's reload speed. If it had a speed reloader, and they do make speed loaders for lever actions, if they had a speed loader for this gun and maybe different ammo types, this would be an Omega S tier gun for me. But for the time being, against the Terminid front specifically, I do think this is probably just like an A tier gun. This has medium armor penetration as well, and also has good durable damage, like very good durable damage for what it is, and has just good overall damage overall. So that's why I'm putting it into the A tier ranking. The Liberator Carbine, I do think this is probably the better of the Liberators, in my opinion, especially against just like the regular Liberator and Liberator Concussive. I kind of want to put it into like B tier, like high B, but I'm kind of want to put it into like low A, just for the simple fact that like you can actually build this into like a mini stalwart and it actually feels pretty good. And yeah, it just has like really good bullet hose capabilities. They just need to add more ammo to it, as far as like overall ammo to it, and I think they would probably would be in a good spot, and also add more underbarrel uses, or like more stuff for like underbarrel stuff. Give it a grenade launcher, give it a shotgun, give it something. Give it a bayonet. You know, I don't particularly think that bayonets are really that great in this game, but just give it something, just to give it more flavor. And I think that would probably even be more of a solid A tier pick for me instead of bouncing around between A and B. Liberator Concussive, not gonna lie, I kind of think this is just like probably like low B for me. The reason why is because I just don't like. I'd rather just kill the thing that's in front of me rather than just concuss it for God knows how long. Like for example, like the lever action takes 2 shots to kill a brew commander, right? Or an alpha commander, or like whatever they're called. Like the more, like the big red bugs that like, you know, summon more bugs to come and fight you, right? Like you can 2-tap those and kill them, right? This, you're just stunning it and tapping it and just staggering it and it just seizuring up in front of you, right? I'd rather just kill the thing and just move on. And that's the problem with kind of like these stun weapons in general, is that they take too long to kill things. Or the stun is just not worth it, you know, for the time that you put into it, right? But I do think that it probably has like a place in some weird like crowd control build where you're just not killing anything, but you're just like just stunning everything in front of you. But for me, that's just not a play style that I don't think that's necessarily worth it. So that's why I'm putting it into the B tier. Liberator Penetrator. Like I said, I do think that it's probably like just like an overall just a solid A tier pick. I like the Adjudicator more. That's just me. But if you want a drum mag, something with a drum mag that also does medium armor penetrating, you know, stuff to it, that I do think that this gun is probably really, really good at that point. But I just think that the Adjudicator just leagues probably better than the Liberator Penetrator. That's just me. But I can see where the draw is, right? And because of that, I think that's probably like mid to high A at that point, right? I don't think it's like super, super high A. I just think that the Adjudicator just does more, I think, than the Liberator Penetrator. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. Liberator, this is just like the regular Liberator. I just think that's like, I just think that Liberator Carbine, Liberator Penetrator are just better, just overall. Liberator Penetrator because it has medium armor penetration and has drum mag, and the Carbine, what's nice about it is that you can actually build into it so that it does act like a laser beam and has a drum mag to it and has a fast fire rate. I don't see why you would use this over this, but at the same time though, Liberator is fine where it's at. It is a mid gun. It's supposed to be a mid gun. It is your starter weapon, right? It is the baseline for everything else in the game, and I think that's fine. And I think it's appropriately placed in this type of mid-tier type of weapon, so I think it's fine. The Plas Sniper, not gonna lie, it's probably gonna be a B-tier pick for me, just simply because like it doesn't have that great of an ammo economy. It's definitely better on the automaton front and the eliminate front, but on bugs, no sir. You get swarmed very easily with this. Even if you were to take, you know, something for more of those like elite style enemies, just take any one of these up here, okay? You know, take the lever action, take the diligence counter sniper. You know, like if you're wanting something with like a sniper fantasy to it, just take any one of the other DMRs in the game, and it will definitely help you out more often than none. So that's why I'm putting it into the B tier. Plasma Punisher, probably going to be S tier for me, just simply because it just has really, really, really good crowd control, can stagger enemies pretty well, has a good ammo economy. It's just overall just a fantastic weapon overall, so that's why I'm putting it into the S tier. Pummeler, stun right now, it doesn't feel pretty good, you know, because they changed the stun values. It takes more bullets to basically stun an enemy now. Even though they increase the time for enemies to be stunned, I just wish that stun was just better, just overall, like the application of stun was just better. But for whatever reason, they changed that so it takes more bullets now, and these guns already do pretty weak damage already, so that's why I'm just like, it's probably not that good. If they revert the changes for stun, it probably would be like a high A, or like high B, maybe even into A. But you know, I just rather outright just kill the thing than just have to wait around and just stun something for days, right? But then again, they might change the application of stun. Who knows? We'll see. Punisher, been kind of bouncing around between either putting this in S tier and A tier, but there's something that's keeping it out of S tier. That's the Cookout. But this gun has phenomenal, really good like direct damage. It's got a pretty good spread on it as well. Just an overall, just a fun, just a fantastic weapon. The problem is that it can take out bugs, like small bugs, very, very quickly because it has such high damage to it. I just think that the Cookout does way better damage overall because of how fire damage works right now. And because of that, like if you want something for more single target damage to take down Brew Commanders and stuff like that, or Alpha Commanders and Nursing Spewers and Bottle Spewers and stuff like that, you can definitely take this. You can wreck stuff with this gun. It's very, very good. But overall, just damage, just overall, I just think that the Cookout is just better, just overall. But I do feel like this gun is in a very good spot right now, and you should definitely take the Punisher. Like the Punisher does feel pretty good. The Purifier, I do think this is also Omega S tier, just really good, just overall. Crowd control does really good damage as well, and I do think that this gun does just overall just very good. I mean, like it went from like the worst weapon in the game to probably like one of the best weapons in the game, and Helldivers too. So it's just overall just a fantastic weapon overall. You can tap fire it or you can full charge it and then get like good damage on one target or one target and the targets around that target. So it's pretty good just overall, just crowd control and damage. That's why I'm putting it into the S tier category. Reprimand, it's probably going to be like mid-A for the most part. It just needs more ammo to it. If it has more ammo to it, then it probably would be better. But overall, I think it's fine for what it is. They did fix the spread of the gun because the spread was horrendous on this gun. They did fix it to where it's no longer, like bullets are going all over haywire and stuff like that. I just think that just needs more ammo in the mag, like giving it an extending mag and stuff like that as an attachment. I think is fine. So the Scorcher, I do think this is S tier as well. Has some AOE capabilities to it with each shot, but just overall, like this thing can take out charger butts like no problem, because plasma is just really, really good right now in the game. So just like it's just a very, very good gun overall. It does really good damage, and it does have some good crowd control capabilities. That's why I'm putting it into the S tier category. Scythe, I do think Scythe is probably going to be like mid to low A. Just overall, just really good. Just overall, I do think that with the buff that it got to where it can set things on fire with the laser, I do think is really good. But it doesn't stagger. That's the problem. And you can get easily swarmed with this. But if you want to go full laser maxing, then this gun is the right gun for you. I do think that has a good ammo economy as well. Just make sure that you get the attachment to where you can hold down on the trigger longer without it overheating, right? That's the one that you want. I wouldn't necessarily go with the one that it cools down faster. That's just me. But I would go for the one that you can hold down the trigger longer, because you'll get more value out of that, and you'll be able to set things on fire while actually just laser beaming them and take them out pretty quickly. So that's why I'm putting it into like probably like a solid A tier. Scythe, what's good about it? Or sorry, the Sickle. The Sickle's actually pretty good right now, just because it's just probably like just a really good AR las weapon, and it has limited ammo. That's it. It just has really, really good just like crowd control capabilities and handling just like anything that's like hunters and warriors and bio warriors and wilburs and like all those type of like little itty bitty bugs. This thing handles it pretty well, so I'm putting it into the A tier category. The Slugger, I do think the Slugger is probably going to be like a B tier pick for me, just because like even though it has more penetrating to it, right, it's just not good as a crowd control tool. It's better on automatons and illuminates, where you're gonna have to be handling like more overseers and like devastators and stuff like that. But against bugs, not necessarily. I just don't think that's really good on the bug front. You can handle high value targets, sure, on like one of those elite style enemies, but at the same time, I just don't think it's that great because the crowd control capability of this gun is not really too good. I rather just, if I wanted to have something, this is where like the exception to the rule happens. If I wanted to take something that handles like those elite style enemies plus plus the other things as well, or like little bugs and stuff like that, then this is when I would this is when I would take the Punisher. Just take the Punisher. I understand that's light armor penetrating. That's fine. This gun does good enough damage, does good enough durable damage, and it shreds everything. Like it's a pretty good shotgun. Or just take the Cookout, right? Just take one of these two guns, and you have everything covered. So that's why I'm putting it into the B tier category. The Spray and Pray. Spray and Pray is probably going to be low beef for me. I wish this gun was better. I really do. I just think that the Incendiary Breakers probably makes this gun obsolete to a degree. And like it's a fun gun to use, sure, but I just wish that the gun. I just wish it did like just a tad bit more damage. If it did a tad bit more damage, I think it probably would be in a good spot. But just overall, against bugs specifically, and this is supposed to be, I think this is more of a bug weapon than anything else. I just think that the Incendiary Breaker just blows it out of the water if you want something that just does pure crowd control. Against Shriekers, it does pretty good for the most part. I wish it did more damage to Shriekers as like a modifier to it. I think that would be pretty cool because again, like if I was birdshot. But overall though, I think it's just a super mid shotgun. So I'm putting it into the B tier. This will be like the Killzone weapons. I'm gonna put these into C tier because I don't think they're absolutely just garbage necessarily. I just think that these guns just need a complete overhaul. Give them way more ammo than what they have, and probably like a little bit more damage, and then that's when I would use them. Right now, these are just gun skins. To a degree, I wish that these guns were just gun skins for like actual cosmetic skins you can flip back and forth. For like the Liberator and for like maybe like the Knight or whatever. But right now, that's not how it is. These are their own guns. Right now, out of all three of the Killzone weapons right now, I think the Plasma Sniper is actually probably the most unique, and that actually is worth it to bring it on other factions. But like these two guns in particular, I just feel like that the Liberator and the Liberator Carbine and the Knight are just way better weapons overall for efficiency because of the attachment system. And these guns do not benefit from the attachment system, and they probably should. So that's why I'm putting it into the C tier category. The Knight's probably going to be B for me. I understand that people are probably going to be like, oh, well, you can build into it and stuff like that. That's fine. I just would rather take something else. I would take the Liberator Carbine, to be perfectly honest with you. I understand this gun can be like a humongous bullet hose if you take like a supply pack with it and stuff like that. That's fine. But to me, it just feels kind of mid, kind of memey as well. But, it's probably a good submachine gun. For me, it's just not that great. Tenderizer, I do think that the Tenderizer is probably like A tier right now. I don't think it's the best light armor penetrating weapon in the entire game, but it's damn near close to it. I do think that there is one light armor penetrating weapon that has nothing with fire to it or anything like that that I do think is the best, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But overall, I do think that the Tenderizer is in a pretty good spot. I just think that it probably needs to have like some sort of like extended mag to it or something like that, like something else to the attachment system that makes it like a little bit more different. But for the most part, it is a solid weapon, so that's why I'm putting it into the A tier. The Amendment, I do think this is probably I bounce around between this and the Variable, but overall, just handling enemies, just regular enemies and like elite style enemies. I do think that this weapon is really, really good right now. I think the Amendment's very, very good. It has 200 damage. It has fairly decent reload speed. It's got a triple shot to it. Feels pretty good. The handling of this weapon feels also pretty good as well. It's got a bayonet on it. Who cares about the bayonet? I just like this weapon pretty much. I think this is like a really good feel-good DMR right now. I don't think it's the best necessarily. I do think that there is one other gun in the game right now that's probably the best light armor penetrating weapon, but we'll kind of get to that. But overall, I do think this is like a good contender for like one of the best light armor penetrating weapons in the entire game. It just feels really, really good to use. So definitely, if you go for like one of the worst war bonds in the entire game, you can definitely pick this up, and like you'll understand why this it feels pretty good to use. Pacifier, same thing with the Pummeler. It just needs the application of stun just needs to be buffed. and then it probably would be in a good spot. It was kind of in a good spot before. I like this gun a lot, to be honest with you. Like the sound of it, the feel of it, it just feels pretty good. But overall, like I just think that the application of the stun just needs to be buffed. And the variable. I do think this is the best light armor penetrating weapon in the game right now, just because it can take down impalers with the total value. The reason why this gun is really good is not because it is a light armor penetrating weapon. It's not the best because if it's necessarily like its damage per shot. It is because it is a very versatile weapon. If you want to have single target damage if you want to handle like many targets, you can switch it to the single shot, where you can just it's just like an automatic weapon at that point. It is fairly decent damage. If you're handling more elite style enemies, you can switch it to the volley, where it becomes kind of like a shotgun, like a slug shotgun a little bit. Or if you want to handle boss type enemies, so like more of like your like heavily armored targets, like impalers and such, this can one shot impalers. So it has versatility to it. The one downside to it though, and the reason why I'm not putting it in S tier, is because its handling is awful. This gun's handling is atrociously bad, and I do think that it needs something to make its handling probably better. Give it like an angle grip or something. Give it something that, you know, make it benefit from the attachment system. You have the attachment system, and you're not giving these guns anything necessarily like 4 attachments to make them feel like a little bit better. And for that reason, that's why I'm going to put it in a super high A tier position. I do think that it's really good. It is really good. I don't think it's one of the best guns. It's super overpowered, guys. It's not that overpowered. Okay, it's not super overpowered. I think it's people kind of hyping it up. It's just like a little bit too much, right? Kind of like bump it down a little bit, right? It has really bad handling. Okay, its ammo economy is like okay, to be perfectly honest with you, right? And it does okay on like the crowd control front, but what it does really well against is impalers and elite style enemies. Okay, but whenever it comes down to crowd control, it does like okay, like on the crowd control front. Doesn't have like the best reload speed in the world, so like you're probably gonna have to bring siege ready. Also, siege ready will probably help you with your ammo economy as well. But just overall, I do think it's probably like the best light armor penetrating weapon in the entire game right now. And that's light armor penetrating weapon. It doesn't set anything on fire, because technically like the Breaker, Incendiary, or the Cookout is technically the best light armor penetrating weapons in the game, because it set things on fire. But if we're talking about just something that does raw damage, there's nothing special to the bullet, this is probably the best one in the game as of now, right? Until they do something with light armor penetrating weapons in the game, who knows? It might fall off a little bit, but for the most part, it does really well because it can handle impalers and those elite style enemies. So this is my tier list. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What you think of my tier list. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'd really like to see y'all's opinions on this tier list, and just overall opinions on what you guys think of the latest war bond, where you think weapons are overall, and what do you guys think about light armor penetrating weapons? Do you think they're in a good spot right now? Do you think they need a little bit of help, or do you think they're a little bit too overpowered? Personally, I don't think they're a little bit too overpowered at all. I do think they need some little help to kind of make them a little bit better overall. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. As always, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.